Yay for that. All right. And then I've got to present my window. Not that one, that one. All right, so we're literally just going to start off with as basic as it gets, right? So to get to it, we're going to go in your real comp home screen, just at the top, Remine and Remine Docs Plus. That seems fairly straightforward. The other way is what I would think is more likely. So that would be, let's say that you already have a transaction going, but what's more likely is if we're going to start a transaction, who's got an active listing? Lauren, you do, just because I know the address off the top of my head. Let's say we're looking at a listing, because this is what we're always going to do before we write an offer. I think more times than not, you're probably going to get through it by here. That being said, I'm sorry, not through here, through here.
Wait, what? Yeah, we already changed.
This is, I'm sorry, sometimes I forget, Remine Pro is the almost, it's like real list. It's to some degree.
Okay, I need to go check a package. Will you kind of keep an eye on the, are you okay with
Alice is, yeah, Alice is watching it, I think. Alice, are you watching the chat? Because I know you're in that meet. Kind of. A little bit. Okay.
Well, that's fine. I'll have Stacy just,
We'll keep an eye on it.
you'll keep an eye, we'll keep an eye on it for you.
So it's always Remine you want us to use from this point on?
Oh.
Yeah, it's going to be because the transaction desk is going to go away.
I don't even think I ever
Oh, you
use
wanna use
transaction desk.
So then you are a step ahead.
Salad.
The other thing, so as of right now, seller's disclosures and lead-based paint are not filtering through. So probably before I would even start the transaction, I'd click view docs and download them.
I've gotten that far. Same.
There we go. That's a good step forward. So then we're gonna hit transaction, and like I said, or you can go up and Remine and Docs Plus, either way. So as of now, I'm hoping that this will, so in transaction desk, remember that you could have the contacts tab and you could add in people whenever you wanted. I don't think that this is, you don't have that ability right now for the entire transaction. So make sure you're adding in your buyers now, and you're going to select, we're going to be on the buying side. And Kim is always my dummy buyer because
Dummy buyer.
for my, if you are, if you're doing a listing, we'll talk about, let's just do purchasing for right now. Listing is different right now. And we'll get our way through buying. And then if we have time, we'll go through listing. It is going to default you to forms, which is, you should not be doing, because all that's going to do is then you're going to have to pick each individual form, which is a pain in the ass. You're better off going to packages, because we've built a package for you. And you'll hit Coldbank or Emmanuel Clarkston and buy package. So a note on this, you really should be filling out a designated buyer agency agreement in a Form K when you start with your buyers. I know that it has become an unfortunate practice, and I know I've been guilty of myself, of having them sign those just when you sign the purchase agreement. A couple of problems with that. Number one, let's say that we go back and you, for whatever reason, get sued and there's an issue with your agency and they say, well, I had no idea that this person was representing me as a buyer's agent. And you look and say, well, they didn't have a buyer's agency agreement. Oh yeah, well, we did. Oh, it was signed at the exact same time as the purchase agreement. The other problem can be, so, and I think I mentioned this at the sales meeting, is the exclusive buyer agency agreement not only protects your commission and tells the buyer what you are an expert in, it also tells them what you are not liable for. So let's say that you're out showing houses and you don't have a designated buyer agency agreement, and the client says, well, you know, I didn't know that they weren't a contractor, or they weren't a mortgage person, or they weren't an attorney. So the buyer's agency agreement not only says, hey, this is my client, it's going to protect our commission. It also says, these are the things I know. I am not an appraiser, so I'm not guaranteeing you that the square footage of this is correct. I am not guaranteeing the condition of this roof or of this whatever. So that's important. So I would encourage you, we built a package for you that has those, and you can just fill that out for your buyer just as soon as you start. Made it easy for you. But in this case, we already have this buyer. We've already had this signed. We're going to click buy package. and select all the stuff we want. If you're like me and I don't like to see a lot of clutter in here, if I know, for example, and actually I'm going to take L3 and sales disclosure out of this because it's already included with the listing. So I'm going to take that out of the package. That's just something I need to do. I know that this isn't a short sale, and I know that they're not going to change. I know that this is an L1. So I'm going to take those, and maybe it's not FHA, VA. I'm going to take those out because I just like things to be real clean. And then I'll see what I've got. No questions so far, right? Okay, pretty straightforward. Like I said, I'm trying to go through this as thoroughly as possible. So if it becomes boring, just be like, hey, speed this up.
You're pretty fast.
Yeah. I set the order of this in the same order that it is on the sales checklist. If you don't for whatever reason like that, you can drag stuff around. That's up to you. I couldn't care less. But it will only do this for this transaction. I know I talked to Carrie and she likes hers a certain way for all of hers. So I'm gonna help her. We're gonna build her a specific package. If you have like, hey, I know I always like something a certain way, let me know and I can help you build your own package. And then when you selected packages, it would be like, Stacy's buyer package, whatever.
The shoe bottom package.
That's right. So let's say that because in this case we need to upload our docs. We're just going to hit upload. Yeah, for that. And let's say that it's a very specific form that I need. You can also add just individual forms even at any time. So let's say that, you know what, I need a pool addendum or I need a septic addendum, whatever. We're not keeping those in the additional packages because it would be 40,000 documents long. You can add those there. A couple of quick things to take a look at here. And there's functionality. You know what? I'm not going to mention that. Let's say that you want to, you're using Docs and you don't want to log into your computer and add it to Remine. If you just save this transaction email link, you can send Docs to the transaction email link. I don't know if anyone will use that or not, but yay for that. So it's going to default to your Docs. There's not like in Transaction Desk, you had Docs and forms. Forms were everything that was signed. Docs were things that were already like filled out. This is just everything is in one spot. But if you do want to see the signatures that you've already signed, there's a tab, but it will actually show you right on the document. It'll actually tell you signature change. So I just tend to stay in this screen. Let me take a look at this real quick.
Yeah,
Chats, okay.
we're watching the chat on Kim's.
Okay, cool. So we'll start in the easy. We'll go just into the purchase agreement. There's a couple things. I'll show you the things that will kind of piss you off, and I will show you the things that you just kind of need to know as well. So no, there is not a way to make the fonts bigger. Some of the legal descriptions are just really tiny. There's been a couple of cases that we've had to actually have another addendum stating the legal description because it's just illegible. It also does not filter through ID numbers. So at least not yet. Hopefully it will. It also at some point will filter through the inclusions. So I'm not going to go through how to fill out a purchase agreement because you guys know how to do that. But the thing to note is, let's say that this is this is anytime that you have an address in Remine Docs anywhere. If you try and click, let's say that you want to do, because we all know that Clarkston Independence Township gets screwed up. If you hit this and just deleted, it's actually going to delete the entire address. So anytime you need to change something in the address, you click anywhere on the address, it'll pull this address screen up, change it. Let's say it needed to be Clarkston, which it doesn't, but and then hit done, and that'll. There are any of the slots where there are numbers. So this is something just to be aware of, and we're trying to get it changed. I always was taught on anywhere that is not applicable on a purchase agreement to never leave a blank and always to put NA. In this case, there are just some times that you can't. So for example, if you click withdrawn on buyer's offer, it will not allow you to put NA. Yeah, so I don't know what the direction on that's going to be. For now, you can either run it as it is, or you can convert it and literally put NA on a markup. I wouldn't bother doing that. I think it's fine for now. All fairly easy. anytime that you have dates, instead of having you type in, it's kind of like how transaction did, where it defaulted to this as well. And the nice thing is, instead of having to apply a template, these have all got initials already ready for you. So you don't have to add in signatures.
I had a quick question.
Yeah.
Going into this one, possession on one of mine I was trying to do. Is it that it's only numbers? I was trying to say
Mhm.
like see comments because
Yep.
occupancy was gonna be like X for the
Yeah,
first
just
10
have that
weeks.
too.
Yep.
And I couldn't get it to, like, it wasn't a number. You know what I mean? I
That is,
needed-
that's what we were saying about
Okay.
you can't. So if you can only, so like for me, I always put, and I don't know if you're supposed to, but I always would put like 1/30th PITI and then the amount to be determined once. So you can't do that. So it does have to be a numerical amount. I'm working to get that changed. I don't know if it will be or not.
You can't put immediate on them?
You can you can
Well,
check
at
at closing,
Yep.
Yeah.
but then it does not then allow for you to say X days. So
Yeah.
yep, it's got to be a number amount. Like you couldn't do PITI. It has to be a number amount. If you, for whatever reason, and I can't see why you would want to, but you could, just like you could in transaction desk, you can just fill in the blanks. That always would bother me, but you can do that if you want. All right, what else on the purchase agreement that we need to note? A quick note for what, yeah,
Should we ever put 1/30th PITI? Because that's not a finite number. That's an ambiguous number that can change from day to day based on what the mortgage company wants to charge their clients. Numbers, but I was taught.
yeah, I would then, yeah, I would stick to, are you saying, should you just stick to a finite number?
Right, you can, arbitrarily, come
what
up
you're
with
asking?
approximately
I'd
that
say
number,
yes.
whether it's $50 a day or whatever it is. You just use a finite number. It's kind of similar to all appliances in the kitchen. You don't use that. You use a finite.
Jim's saying finite
No.
number.
Yeah,
select
just
items.
use a finite number, yes.
Yeah.
So just
I
select,
think that
do the,
1/30th
have the mortgage
PITI
company
can-
just do a little calculation and just use the finite number.
Yeah, okay,
So if it's $50 or whatever.
thank you.
Okay. Hopefully I got all that because it's a little bit sketchy on the TV. A couple things to note for whatever reason right now. Oh, they fixed it. Oh, thank you. Yes. Sometimes the things that are fixed actually get fixed. It originally defaulted to not paying your title. I'm trying to get it to where it's checked automatically, but that's been fixed. Okay, yay. Let's say that. So any questions on just the general amount of just filling the purchase agreement out?
Not that, but one back. So when did you put in your buyer's email address?
Oh, when we started the
Okay.
transaction, when I put in Kim Turner, I could add it then, but you
Okay.
can also add it when you said your signatures, you can add it in.
Okay.
I'll show that to you.
Okay.
Yep. And you can also do here where you can do edit people.
Oh.
And we can say, okay, I'm gonna edit, email.
Okay.
If you are copy and pasting an email from Gmail, it will copy and paste in with a space and it will tell you the email is invalid. So just as a heads up. So if you need to, let's say that you screwed something up and you want to change something and you can't figure out how to do it, you can actually go into the history tab and you can revert back to any of your edits, kind of like you can do in Google Docs, which is nice. So just a little kind of a thing there. Now, if you, let's say that you have received let's say that you need to add something in, you need to cross something out, you need to add in initials, whatever. What you'll then do is we're going to go to convert to PDF. Before, though, you convert to PDF, make sure all your fields are filled out, because once it's a PDF, it will not allow you to have any of these fillable fields anymore. So once we know that we're good, we convert to PDF. Come on. And that's going to allow us to add in if we need extra signatures or if we add in initials. Also, a quick note, it defaults to not having you as a witness. I don't know if that's on purpose or not. I am fine with leaving that, especially with, I don't know if Kim is going to agree with me or not. I think that she's fine with this, but I stopped signing as a witness. The state does not require it. And for me as an electronic signature, I'm not technically witnessing you sign this. So I don't know that I want to be signing off and saying, yep, I can verify that Kim signed this. So I have stopped signing purchase agreements, and I've stopped signing some addendums unless the lender makes me. But we'll have an official stance on that, I'm sure. Like I said, once we are in the PDF, we can do things like draw lines. We can draw full rectangles, which is really cool. Let's say that we need to eliminate a complete clause. Boom, we can do that. That's very easy. Another thing that's really easy is when we're doing, let's say that we're, there's a spot like on like L3 where you got to have like 4 initials in a row. Instead of dragging and dropping 4 different times, what you're going to do is, let's see if I got an open space where I can use this, is all you have to do is you select whoever is initialing, you click it, you can add date and time right there with it if you want. And then if you need to do a couple of them, just hit duplicate. And if you need somebody else's signature, you hit duplicate and then just change who it is. So that's super easy. So let's say that, I need, 4 initials, 2 from each person. I can do them all right there instead of dragging and dropping, which is faster and easier. And I'm going to leave those there because I don't want to delete them. Navigating your docs is really easy. Instead of going to the basket and then having to I'm going to open this one, they're all sitting right here, which is really cool. So we just go to the next doc. And if I want to go back, I can just hit back. There's nothing on any of the other docs that really is super funky. They're all just very standard. All the signatures are set up properly. The disclosures are going to default to a PDF. So because anything that you upload is going to default to a PDF. So I am working to get this as a fillable so that it's not as much of a pain, because I actually really like when people do fill out an offer cover sheet. It just makes my life easier. It makes Alice's life easier. It makes Title's life easier. And then it also makes my filling out the transaction worksheet easier, because then I can just look, oh, okay, I know they're using Title, and I don't have to chase somebody down. But same thing, so we would just be adding initials, just click and click. And again, if we had to add another one, just click and click. Any questions on that? No, good, okay. It's less daunting than it actually seems. Sometimes it's when you get into the weeds of oh, wait a minute, what happened? And I'll show you a couple of those things. Actually, let me show you a nice, easy place that'll get you tripped up. Is if you are adding in let's just say that you're going to add somebody and you just hit enter, it won't do it. Or if you're adding an address, it won't do it. You'll actually have to wait until they pop up and be able to click it. And just as a kind of a little heads up there. All right. If you are, let's say that we're now going back into the transaction, we can just go into, of course, my transactions. It'll let you know on any of your docs. If you have signatures, it'll let you know, although it will stay there indefinitely. So let's say we're going to send this out to sign. When there's less hiccups, it actually makes it easier to do. The first couple classes, it was oh shit, this isn't working, this isn't working. So we're ready to send this off for signatures. The send and the sign function kind of do the same thing. So I've been using the send. We select just whatever we want to have send to sign, continue. It will let you know, hey, we've got a bunch of, we didn't add signatures here, here, here. Okay, I know, that's fine. I should have added a second purchaser. So if you have 2 purchasers and you select them both, it will pop up with a notification up here that they are set to they are not set to, they're set to ordered sign and someone's first and someone's second. I always then click there and that disables them from being, you know what, let me just show you. Otherwise, no after anyways. And we're gonna, no, I'm not gonna add me because Alex, you're sitting next to me, so you get to use my second buyer here. Try to make a new one. Come on, be fast. Okay. Here we go. Now we have it. Yep, so when we're adding them, see, active recipients will receive items in a specified order. And so then I will, now that's simul-sign. If for whatever reason you want them to sign in an order, I don't know. I'm trying to get it to default to simul-sign. Yay for that. If you just need to actually send something to someone, let's say that you want to send it to another agent, you don't want to download it into a PDF and email it out, just hit send, pick whatever document you're sending. And we're going to add to recipient to view only. Because if you selected, let's say I was going to send it to you, this is going to send it to you to sign.
Okay.
So we're going to add recipient to view only. So I know it seems silly, but hey, whatever.
So if you have two buyers and you don't do it in an order, like, okay, Alex will sign and then Ken, they can just each go in at any time and do their part?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then,
just
like,
like I'm going to sign.
For that third place you're doing right there, that's where you'd add like a transaction coordinator.
Yeah, or really it's just if you want to send the document to somebody, but I'm not using this normally at the same time I'm sending signatures. It would be, although theoretically, I'm not sure if they will see if it will update for them. If they were a Remine user, it would update for them, but not otherwise. So it's like if I wanted to send, I said, I've already signed it. I wanted to send it to the other agent. That's where I'd use that. Any questions on kind of how the signing works or anything like that? I know it's fairly, like I said, it's less daunting than it seems. Now listing is where things get a little bit squirrely, and we'll do listing here.
Let's see what I've been doing wrong.
So one of the things that you've been doing wrong is, as of right now, there is no functionality from Remine Docs Plus to add a listing into the MLS automatically. So like in Transaction Desk, where you would fill out your profile form and then you just hit submit to MLS, does not exist yet.
Oh.
It's going to. It's going to be called Add Edit.
We gotta put our own listing in now? You gonna do that now? No. Oh.
What?
Oh, I mean, I fill out the forms, but I
And then
turn it in and someone else.
You literally
does
can
that.
just, you literally can just hit submit to MLS and it'll make a
Or you can keep doing it.
partial
Wait,
saving.
What?
You know
I've been
what?
saving- I've been
You know
filling
what?
out-
With Transaction Desk not even being around for
Stacey
another
didn't even
30
know we
days.
could do our own listing.
All right. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
She's like, wait, what?
Have you been following recently too? Just
Yes.
flicking through with us?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I know I'm gonna have to go over it. We're gonna have to all go over this again a bunch of times. That's okay. But honestly, you guys kind of have a leg up because you haven't used Transaction Desk Plus, so it's not gonna be too much of a switch.
So are you saying
I'm like, well,
that I-
asked you because-
like for my listings, I filled out the MLS info and then I filled it all out again in my,
Yeah, you don't need to do that.
Oh,
No, that we
gosh,
could
it
input our
took
own
so
listings.
long.
Yeah, what you can do is if you're in Transaction Desk,
Yep.
Yeah, I guess. That's
You
amazing.
can, that option is still there, but you can also do it yourself and get ahead of the game.
I had no idea.
yeah, if you have your MLS profile form in Transaction Desk, and this is still what you would need to do for right now for the next how many ever days.
I don't think you should do that.
Yeah. Why, for the love of God, they would roll out a system without having the ability to enter a listing? I have no idea, but that's because I don't make these decisions. Yeah, you can literally just hit this in Transaction Desk and it'll upload to the amounts.
I never knew that.
I didn't know.
I would
that.
always do them separately.
Me too.
I thought that
That's what I just spent all my time on.
Yeah.
No.
Guys, we need to spend less time on
Yeah,
stuff
but
like
I
this.
always do. I get all the paperwork and then I go do it for the MLS. and
Work
then I
harder,
redo
not
it.
smarter.
Yeah, you don't need to do any of that, guys. And it will be the same in Remine Docs is you'll have what's called an add edit feature where you just will add a listing and then it'll upload it in the MLS. The other thing you do not need to do is download even right now. So let's say that so here would be, at least for the next 30 days, if I was going to put in a listing, this is what I would do. You don't have to do this. You can do that and fill out a profile form on Remine and then hit input in. Sure. If it was me, I would probably have a transaction in Transaction Desk and in Remine Docs Plus. I would fill out the profile form and the profile form only in Transaction Desk so I can submit it to the MLS. And not that one. I'm sorry. It'd be nice if I knew what the documents were called.
It's much easier because I'm totally lost right now.
So, well, you were filling out your listings in Transaction Desk, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So all you would just fill out your form like you normally would, and then you should upload. Okay. All right. You know what? Yeah. You know what? We have like 15 days left of not being able. Don't worry about it. Don't change anything for right now.
We wouldn't be able to even use Transaction Desk after.
You won't be able to. This is strictly until Remine comes up and adds in their own. I know it's frustrating. You won't, once you start using Remine Docs, you'll like it.
What are you on right now?
This is through
Oh, that's
Transaction Desk.
Transaction Desk.
Yep. And then
Okay,
I would
okay.
honestly,
Okay.
I would then download this as a PDF and upload it into Remine Docs Plus for everything else. That's what I would do for this exact second. Yeah, it would just be, so I would just, okay, let's step by step this. So we're going to add a listing and somebody give me an address that's remotely close. Nobody's got just any address, like an actual street address. What's the
739. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, right. It's close, not close.
what is what?
739 Bay Point with me.
That's right.
Drive.
Okay. Oh nope, I did not mean to do that. Damn it. Sorry, I haven't used Transaction Desk in a while.
Going wrong almost immediately.
Yes, it is. All right. This is why this class takes long. Okay, so I would add in in Transaction Desk like I normally would.
Wait, so we do listings and transactions?
No, we don't.
No, but
No.
for like this second.
Peter's taking us on a little detour.
You know what? Yeah, but honestly, it's like the only way to do that. If you are, how many of you guys put your own into the MLS right now though?
I did.
Okay. All right, then this is the way that I would do. And yeah, I would just,
Every time. I didn't even know we were
I
allowed
was-
to.
I
all
thought it
those
was the
things and I
preference.
just hand them to Alice, just to do a once over.
once I've got the transaction,
I like your way better than I would.
yeah. The only form that I would fill out in Transaction Desk now, this should make things easier, is fill out your profile form, hit upload, then it's saved as a partial in the MLS. All right. So once you do that, it's good. But you do still need this signed. So I suppose you could either use it in Authentisign here. You know what? Just get this signed
But
in
that's only for
Authentisign.
15 more days, right?
Yes,
Yes.
for a
So-
couple more days.
So,
After that, everything will be in Remine.
all right. So the first thing, once this is gone and we're only using Remine Docs,
We'll show you.
and you have a new listing.
Yep.
First thing
So we'll
is
show you
what?
that now. All right. Now so once we have the actual functionality, this is how it's going to go. We're going to add in a transaction. We're going to add in our address on the listing side. We obviously don't have buyers yet or a buyer brokerage. It's going to put in your sellers. If you have other sellers, now would be a good time to put it in.
That also somehow, like Transaction Desk, you could create a contact in a transaction and then.
This is going to auto-populate it.
Did they do it from the PRD?
Mhm.
Did it pull from?
But
Okay.
so like to add their email and everything, you
Just right here.
Got it, okay.
It will also, by the way, so let's say that is it,
Oh, and that's why I didn't put it in here. So every time I kept having to type their email
Yes.
address in.
so the other thing is, let's say that you've got a buyer who's a repeat client.
I memorized them all.
You guys,
I don't
I'm gonna
like
save you
them
guys.
because-
You guys, I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna save you when you guys all are on board. I'm gonna save you so much time. And once we,
Making me feel.
once we get you guys in freaking skies, you guys are gonna be like,
No.
oh my, that's wait up. But you guys will be like, oh my gosh, like how do I have so much time now? You'll be like, I just did this deal in
I'm
10
gonna
minutes.
More often for
I'm
you.
gonna- I'm gonna hold your reminder. We got the email, they're extending transaction desk through the end of October.
Yeah.
So that's. See ya. No, I'm just kidding.
Please don't. Please just like start using it so that we're not in a mad dash.
And Lauren, you have had no listing since the end of, I'm done retiring. I
Yeah,
handled
that's
this.
it's very easy once we get into it. So it's not that much different from transactions. It just looks different. It's not really it's the same thing. Just like in transaction desk, you got to put it in the address. It's a listing. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you, like I said, if you want to add them in right now, the other cool thing is if you are, let's say that you've got a client that you've written 17 offers for, and you've saved them in your Google contacts, it will actually,
In your Google contacts?
I believe, in your Google contacts. Or is it just in your real comp contacts? I'll double check on which contacts it is, but I believe if you save them in your real comp contacts, it'll pop them up. All right, and again, same thing, packages, not forms, and then you'd be that really should be list package because I'm
Yeah, I agree.
gonna change that. I will change it to list package. So list package, next, again, if we want to remove any docs, easy peasy, just remove. This is where we're really gonna make things fast. So you remember transaction desk, let's say your sellers were filling out their, okay, before I say this, of you guys, who was using transaction desk for your sellers to fill out their seller's disclosure? Okay. Then I will not address that.
You mean like emailing it
Mhm.
through, oh, okay, electronically?
Yep. So this is going to be not complicated at all. So yay for that.
I'm just like, follow you around for the, see what you're doing.
Obviously doing it the hard way.
Yeah, let's do it the easy way. Wait a minute. Why are sellers disclosures? Where'd they go?
Yeah, help me. This house has to be for sale by
Oh, here we
Tuesday
go.
for this one.
So in filling this out, it's a lot of the same stuff as you would fill out in transaction desk. It looks the same, but more stuff will be auto-populated to some degree. So make sure that you double check.
All right, so one thing that I was running into, and when I go down, when they ask what the terms are, what the sellers will accept.
Yes, it's
It will
only
only let you
allowing
check
one. I know.
one.
It's on
Okay.
my list of things they need to fix.
See, it's not, like I need it to be a little flexible. Cash only.
Yeah, that is one thing that you will run into right now. So just make sure that when it's in the MLS that you just change that. For right now, again, we will get that fixed. Just as a reminder, we do not pay subagents. We will pay transaction coordinators. Okay, just a reminder. I know that you guys all know that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Just
I was
know
gonna
that
get into it,
yep,
but we're
don't,
good.
just know that you don't need to. Yep. So, that should be fairly straightforward. Again, once the functionality is there, you will be able to just upload this right into RealComp as well. And we'll show you exactly how to do that once that adds in. So no worries about that. But the fun part of this is, let's say that we're sending something for my sellers to sign. I no longer need to print this off and send it over to my seller and have them fill it out and sign it and send it back to me, right? All you need to do is when we send things for signatures, we just send this just as it is right along with them. So you don't need to change anything. You just send it for signatures. And once you send it for signatures,
For my people.
I'm sorry?
So if I get well, maybe you're not that far yet. Maybe I'll just be quiet.
Go ahead. Well,
So I've been putting signature blocks on for where everybody needs to sign.
you shouldn't need to. They should already be there.
It seemed like there were some places where there weren't.
Okay. If you run into that, let me know and we'll get it changed.
Okay,
Yeah. If you're running into issues, just like call me and be like, issue, we'll get fixed.
Email this to them to sign. Is it also a fillable form?
Yep.
For them to actually do the disclosures?
I'm gonna show you. Same thing with your mortgage auths. So I'm going to be,
Wait, but I have a question about that.
Yep.
Doesn't the mortgage payoff have to be a wet signature?
so yes. So,
What do you?
so mortgage
Sign
payoff,
by hand?
it either doesn't,
Can't be electronic.
well, it either doesn't need to be signed or it needs to be wet signed. So, but what I would still do is they can still fill it out here.
Okay,
So, but yeah, I'm actually working to get the signature block on that removed
yeah.
because yeah, they
I
either are
thought
going
you
to
had
not
to
need
do
a
that.
signature or they're going to need a wet signature. Yeah. So I'm gonna work on getting, let me make a note on that too, to make sure you get that note.
I know, but you can't release your mortgage without it.
But they also can call and order it themselves and not have to sign anything.
I don't have anyone that does that. But you've met my clients this week, Peter, so you know that.
I mean, like I had a lot of clients that like, especially like if they use like the USA app, you can just order your payoff through your app. Signature blocks. Sorry, I gotta make notes because I have to call.
Yeah, so I did everything electronic because I was out of town. I was the list, we listed it and sold and did all the signing of the purchase
Multiple offers too,
agreements.
right?
Yes.
Yay for that.
While I was away. But so will they need to, I sent everything in.
Yeah, I would have them wet sign it. Just send them a copy and have them wet sign it. It's no big deal.
Okay.
It's not like a world-ending thing that needs. The reason we have you do these when you list is so that it's not 4 days before closing and we're trying to order a payoff and it's like, oh shit, we got to pay for a rush. We got to, that's why we're having you do it at listing. But if you do it like this week, it's not going to be the end of the world. So, and it does not have to be the original, obviously, because you're not going to hand deliver it to the title company. They can print it, sign it, scan it to you.
Okay.
So I will show you how this looks from your buyer side because it is awesome. And I'm just going to be the buyer. You're gonna send it to me. Yeah. All right, so now we're gonna show you what this looks like. Oh, I'm presenting the window though. I didn't present this window because I'm like, oh, you guys are don't need to see my 50,000 tab window. This is what it's going to look like. Oh yeah, you're the same way. So do you guys all have 1,000 tabs open at one time? Yeah.
That's
My
how I am
husband
too.
is like, what?
Like,
blow your
I
computer
have
out.
19
know.
open right now.
What I've started, I have 4 different windows and I've
17.
got, I have 75 on my phone. What I've started to do now, I know what I've started to do is just like, even if it's one little thing, like I spent 20 minutes hooking up this freaking Chromecast in the front TV, but I'm like, you know what? It's one less thing off my desk. No. So if you see my desk and it's like, I've got shit all over the place, it means that I have not gotten anything done. So like I just one thing at a time. And I end up still being more efficient than trying to multitask and do this, a little bit of this and this and this. And anyways, this is what it will look like from your client side of things. It'll say they've shared documents with you. And you say, oh, all right, we're going to view these docs. I know, I'm already
Oh,
logged
so it
in.
does come from our name.
Mhm.
Okay, that's.
Yep. And then it gives you, okay, welcome to Lena. Yep. We know. Okay, all right.
They still do this from their phones?
Yeah. I would not have them do this from their phone.
Right.
But the signing, yeah, absolutely. And I would argue, I'll show you a signature from your phone. I would argue it's easier than doing authentic
'Cause you
sign.
can-
You can, and it's just, you just like tap and it's tap done. So they can then fill out this from their
Oh, wow.
right here. And then they just click and sign. Boom. Which is really nice. And they just hit sign. And I click to initial. And I can either draw or type. And then it'll jump into the next one. And then they're going to hit done. Or finish, whatever. And then I'll show you what it looks like then on your side. And then I'm going to delete this whole transaction so that I don't actually sign as your. I know that was just technically illegal. Oh, well, it was an example. So now what it's going to, that's right. What it's going to show you. Oh no, I'm gonna have to now reload Remine Docs because it gets squirrely if you try and if you're on the same window and you try and go in as two different people. Also, there was a functionality, and I don't know, I'm totally honest, I don't know the legality of this, but I have had scenarios where like a seller only has, the couple only has one email address. They're like, hey, can we, so for a while you could not do that. They've changed that now. You can send to two different email addresses. Just obviously make sure that like, just, I always tell them, hey, don't necessarily sign, have them actually do it just to be whatever. Okay. So we're going to go back into this and where to go. It's not Pond View. It is, what's the, oh, Baypoint, here we go. So it's going to let you know you've got signatures changed, which is cool. It'll also send you an email. Problem is when it's up there, you can't move that square. So I lose
And
those
you actually
tabs.
get the two emails, right?
Yep.
One saying
One
they
Yep.
opened it.
saying they've opened it, and then one saying a summary. So sorry, this is, and it will send them a PDF of their signature. Sorry, I'm going to try and, I'm just going to show from the agent side, this is what happens. Okay, so so-and-so has opened your documents, and then here's a summary of them. Once you do that, you can either like open them, the two of them, or maybe you just want to open one as a PDF. You can just open the one. Doesn't matter. Either way. So it'll then show you, these are the ones that had a signature changed. And then you can just kind of see. Hey, I see the signature changed. If it has been sent to somebody, but they haven't signed it, it'll show up in red. Cool. All right,
Does that
yay for
also
that.
mean they haven't opened it yet either?
I don't know.
Okay, just that they haven't sent it.
Yep, it might be both. I think what else? No, you're good. What else we need to mention? MLS visibility. So instead of having to download your disclosures and then send them to Alice and then she uploads them, all you'll have to do is you look at your seller's disclosure statement, you hit the three buttons, hit MLS visibility, make sure it's the right MLS number, hit shared, and hit update. And now your disclosures will show up in the MLS. See, like I said, this will save you time. I promise.
It saves Alice.
It will also save Alice time. Yes. So she can do other stuff that actually helps you guys make money. So
Agent of the year, Stacy.
that's right.
Well, what was the basket for?
Well, I mean, you're right, but.
Yeah, you still need to
There are
turn your
options.
listing
Yeah,
in.
turn them in.
So yeah, you still have to turn your listing in, but you can, so Alice's process, like if you just like turn it in, is she's then going to have to take all that, she'll upload it. Whereas here, she'd still put it in the file, but you could just, it's already in the MLS. It skips a couple steps.
I don't know. I trust myself to put it in MLS, honestly. What if it's wrong?
She still
Yeah,
looks at it.
yeah,
She still
I
looks.
sent it
So
to
when
Alice.
when you submit to the MLS, it only does it as a partial.
Okay.
Yep. So Alice will still make sure it's right.
'Cause
Yeah.
I know what I
You
think
do,
about
you
when I
do.
see someone screwed up on my MLS listing. I'm like, they don't know what they're doing. Why is somebody letting them do
We are not going to let you screw something up. It's okay.
Let them do that.
It's all good. Yeah. We're still looking at these things.
Okay.
So this is a blast. I love it. The trying to think of what else we need to mention to you. Questions. I know there's a bunch, but like, are there some really like glaring things that's like, hey, I have no idea still how to do any of this? No? Okay. So do we feel remotely comfortable that we could do a transaction?
Buy side.
Okay. Honestly, that's fine. If you can right now do buy side through Remine Docs, if you're having a listing, I will literally like click through with you and be like, okay, do this exactly.
So I do have a question on the buy side.
Yes.
Like we talked about occupancy. I feel like a lot of times it's not just a straightforward number.
Mhm.
So how would you, without being able to type in a note to say, see an addendum or check the, line, whatever, like how
What-
would you handle that?
This is exactly what I would do. So I would
mark it up.
convert it into PDF, which I've actually kind of already
Oh my
done.
God, you have to do that. I know.
As of right now, I know.
Yeah, wait, so you can't type the addendum, blah, blah.
No, it's only the number.
Only numbers. I'm working on getting that changed. The good thing is
I know,
some
that's
of
why I
these
haven't
things.
used this, because I need it to be more flexible.
I know. The good thing is though, these things at least are not necessarily through Remine. Some of them are from the brokerage. So like they have a little bit more flexibility in getting it changed, I believe. I don't know what the capabilities of the smart form are, but at least certain things like, like the banker's title thing, that we fixed that.
Can't you just download it into a PDF and write a text box over it?
That's what I would do. And so I would convert to PDF and put a text box. I know, pain in the butt. And then you pop
I don't
in.
remember that late at night when somebody calls and asks me.
Just remember
"Oh,
any.
Peter."
Yeah, well, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
He's up with the baby.
you guys, by the way, because I've gotten a couple phone calls at like 6:30 or 7 at night that are like, I'm so sorry to bother you after hours. Guys, like I answer my phone. If I'm awake, I
We
answer my
both
phone.
do.
That is literally like, I do my best work from like 7 to like 9:30 at night. Like, and that's how I always was as an agent. And like, always feel free to like, especially if it's a text, like I was answering text till midnight
I
last night.
outlast him. I'd say 10 o'clock, but you know.
I'm like, if I'm awake,
So
I'll answer.
This is a PDF now, and so you're just doing.
Peter,
text overlay to say-
Yes.
For that, number 9, occupancy,
Yes.
you can always put that at the bottom of the contract and other items, just put in number 9, possession or occupancy, and fill in your data. That pretty much covers it.
Yep. But the problem is, so we want to make sure, because there's no like way to, let's say that you have, it's not a specific number of days. Let's say it's like we've had occupancy as dates, like 15 days not to exceed September 22nd or whatever. There's no way here, David, to note like, hey, see other terms. So that's where I would just like in this, just put a little note that says like, see other terms and conditions or whatever.
Right.
And that's where you're right. That's what I would do. So yes,
But if you
absolutely.
put that in the other items at the bottom of the contract, or it lets you fill
It'll
in,
exceed it.
at least, you've got the data filled in.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that they know to look for it, because we
Sure.
know how careful a lot of agents are when they're reading their purchase agreements.
I think
We
that was
just-
Oh, yeah.
sarcasm.
We just had to do that on the list side for the buyer. There was some negotiating going on between the buyer and the seller about when possession was,
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
my buyers got flaky, or my sellers got flaky, and it was 30 days after close, negotiable, but they, after the fact, they're like, oh, but we need to be here through Thanksgiving. And so we went back and forth and landed on, 15 days free after close, 15 days paid,
Yeah.
keys exchanged. So that just got all
Yeah,
written
not to
at the
exceed.
bottom.
Right.
And that's
And
where,
then we
David,
gotta
we want to
sign.
make sure, because we can only put certain like numericals here, especially like within the days. We just want to make sure that we make a note to, hey, see other terms. But you're absolutely right. That's we add in whatever we need to, or an addendum or what have you. So that's for possession, at least for now. Like we mentioned the other thing, there was one other that is screwy. I can't remember yet. That's okay. I think that's everything in the purchase agreement that we might need to know. Trying to think of any of the other docs that might need. I think that's it for the buy side. A couple of other things just to kind of be aware of. It will let you know on the side here of kind of whether you've opened this doc before, or whether, if you're like me and you're like, have I filled out this yet? And instead of actually having to open it, it'll let you know, okay, so when it says draft, you haven't opened it. If it's in progress, it's not filled out, or it's not sent for signatures. And then once it's finished, it'll say, I think it says active. So just to kind of let you know, you can kind of see it right from a quick. Another note on so when you're actually turning in your deal, just a couple of quick notes. When we are doing like our, so the one that always annoyed me was like co-op broker address. I would always just go to RoComp, copy and paste, and put it in. And then I thought, I was like, I can't do this, but yes, you can. It just is, we got to circumvent here. So what I do is I just copied all in the street number, and suck Remine Docs.
Oh,
I don't really
Wait,
care
let's
if it does this because it's not,
The first field.
yeah, because this is just going, yeah, just copy and paste it right into the first field. Who cares?
That's a good little hack.
So that's just a nice little quick little hack. And I think that is, I think that's everything that we need to know on the buy
Did
side.
you put that down further in the form? Oh, I see.
Anywhere you need to put an address, or if you've got current address
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
seller. I mean, that's not
Maybe that
ideal.
one more time.
Yeah. So, and again, if you clear any portion of an address, it will clear the whole thing.
Oh,
So, so I like, let's say that I wanted to, like the co-op broker.
So you copied, okay.
Yep, I'm just gonna grab their copy and paste
I see. Okay, got it. Yeah. Cool.
instead of
Put it
having
in
to
the
type
street
in
name,
street name.
okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Any other questions on, do you feel confident that you could do buy side with this? Like I said, it is not that much different.
Stephanie, we do not expect you to do
Yeah,
that.
we'll go over it again with you. And Penny,
Answer is
so
no.
now, because I know that, have you said it all yet? You did for some, right?
Yeah, I
And
got
did,
another
what,
one on
were there
that.
any things that you could
I'm
say
gonna do
that,
another one today
Oh.
on this.
there you go.
Look at you.
Well, when you haven't used transaction desk, it was like the agents that like came in after like the TRID stuff. They didn't know anything except for the TRID stuff.
Uh-huh.
So we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't have to relearn. This is all, it's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
I have to
learning.
Get something and relearn.
Yes.
It's
Right.
all-
So were there anything that either of you guys ran into that you're like, oh, this was a sticking point for me when you're doing it?
No, but when they're doing it at a 10 o'clock,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's-
they'll call Bill now instead of
No.
you.
No,
Well, right.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing. So you can, if you, let's say that you're like, oh crap, I've converted this into PDF
Right. That's what I
and now I need to go back, just go to the history and you can then go back to the smart version. The only thing is I believe that you will lose whatever you did on PDF. I believe.
Yeah, all that stuff
Oh.
goes away.
So
So it's the
once it's
history.
PDF, you need to keep it PDF?
You don't need to, but like if you, I would just make sure that you filled in your smart forms. And if you need to go back, then go back before you start messing with stuff. And you really shouldn't though, like when you're originally filling it out, you shouldn't really need to do much in the way of PDF. I think the times that you're going to do PDF a lot is, let's say that you are uploading something. Let's say you get sent a purchase agreement. It's already going to be a PDF. That's when you're going to use this. And so for example, anything that we've uploaded, come on, guys. Be fast.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that you've uploaded is going to default into that PDF configuration.
Mhm. I've noticed if I sit too long in one of my screens, sometimes I have to, could just be my computer, I have to refresh.
I was really like, I was doing a good job on cutting back on my swearing until we started using the system. I was doing a good job, especially if certain words. Okay, you can see that when I open this up, it was already in the PDF configuration. Fair? Okay,
Sure.
all right.
Whatever. Yes, man.
If we are wanting to download it into a PDF, yeah, I can see that there was an error.
Yeah.
So you're not working. All right. If we only wanted to download, let's say we only wanted to download one doc, you can open the doc and just hit download. Cool. But if we wanted to, let's say we want to download a bunch of docs, we can either select them all here, or we can do it from our transaction and we can download them all. Just hit whatever you want and hit download. Same thing with signatures. We can, send signatures. You can do whatever you need to. I was confused with the submit at first. Don't worry about that right now. It will submit to admins. I don't think that we're really using that functionality. Don't worry about it. The only other thing to point out before, and we'll end right on time. And I know that, by the way, guys, I know this is not like the end all be all. You're going to be going through and like, oh crap, if you're like me, I can watch this 100 times,
Yeah.
but until I do it. So I would encourage you, if you get, I know that you guys are so chock full of time, if you get a little bit of time, or if you're writing a purchase agreement, just try to use it through Remine Docs. Give yourself a little bit more time. If you hit a snag, just call me. Don't be like, oh, the system. I'll just go back to transaction desk.
Kind of like that. If you hit a
I know.
snag, don't spend 30 minutes trying to figure it out.
Like, call me right away.
Call them right away. Why aggravate
Yes.
yourself?
Yeah. Just like, as soon as you hit a snag, be like, Peter, I don't know how to do this. What I've been doing is I will either shoot you a Google Meet link, and you don't have to be on video. I don't like, so if you're like, you're whatever, I don't know. My wife is always fired up about that. Like,
Top knot? Yeah, show the top knot on
no,
the Zoom call?
she lives with Top Knot. So it's,
I can totally do it.
oh yeah. But I'll just do a screen share with you. If you're like, hey, I can't do that right now, but what I will do is I will send I'll do a screen grab video and I will shoot that to you. So that seems to be easy, but that's the easiest thing. I just did it with a couple other agents where I just sent you a quick Meet link. I'll show you my screen. You can see it from your phone, and it'll just show you, or you can share your screen and I can guide you through and tell you, okay. So we're here to walk you through this. Don't be too worried about it. Only other thing that you really need to know is when another agent sends something to you, it shows up as its own thing, which is a gigantic pain in the ass. So what you then need to do is, let's say that they've shared something with you, just should have been able to do this. Is it not letting you anymore?
That's me. That was the wrong
South
button.
Pass.
Like, all right, call it a day, guys. You should be able to drag and drop it into another folder, because otherwise, if you're doing a bunch of transactions and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I can't find this or this addendum, it's because it will be in that co-op agent's name. So Kim Turner shared with you, and the doc is in there. So on the plus
Can
side,
you drag and drop it to your transaction?
yeah, you should be able to.
I don't know if you can.
It will be both. So it will email you and say, Kim Turner shared a document with you, and you can click it and see it, but then it will open up. It will not open up in PDF. It'll open up in the system. So if you just need to view something, kind of a pain, but such as it is. But on the plus side, is anyone else having internet problems?
Yeah, mine,
I was
I'm
gonna
trying to,
say, Peter, you were
Oh
running
my
that first.
gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you should be able to drag and drop into the other transactions. I'm apparently having, but I'm still the meet
Yeah,
call
that's
still.
what
Is the
mine's
meet call
doing.
still? I know, David, you're unmuted. Is the meet call still running? Anybody?
I'm not sure.
Vicky raised her hand. I don't know. That means she must be still seeing it. Okay.
I'm not seeing
Okay. All right. Well, then the internet has let us down, and thankfully I think that was the last time I showed.
Oh, yeah, it did go blank.
Uh,
Well, I still
Okay,
see you,
well, we'll end the
though,
meet.
but not the,
oh, so it's just a problem with the window.
Could be.
Then I'm just gonna kill Remine Docs and then try it again. Because just one last thing I want to show you there. Can you see it now, David?
yes, yeah, the real comp.
All right.
Listing.
Yay. Okay. Boy, some ways Google Docs make things easier. In some ways, it does not. But it lets you guys be here who can't be here in person, and that is the important thing. Sign in.
Yeah.
Probably because it signed me out of real comp. I don't know why.
it's a
It's
request. Hey,
And I click on my email, and then I have to sign in to Remind to see it.
unless they send it to you in a PDF.
Well, they could just send it to
You don't have to sign in. It will it'll just pop up. It won't you don't have to go and log in.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Not that I've seen. So I didn't actually have to log in. It just showed that. But then if I wanted to get a reminder from that.
Showing time to see something on the MLS, and it takes you gotta log into the MLS.
No, it's not. At least from what I saw, it was not like that.
Read later.
So this is totally.
Is there a limit
You know
on
what,
how
I
you read later?
Probably outside
Something
question,
comes
ask
in
you
the
later.
meeting and didn't you get the pop-up? Totally.
Okay.
Read later.
I apparently cannot use Remind. Okay. The only thing I was going to tell you is if somebody does share with you, if it's assigned within a transaction, you should then, instead of having to download it, upload it back up, if they've shared it with you, you should just be able to send it to people to sign right from there.
Am I getting this when I?
I'm getting
sign
that
in
too.
From,
It is,
Okay.
it has failed us. So, I will just know that when somebody does share something with you, you should be able to open it and send it right to sign right from there. So instead of having to, so it is faster. Like I said, in a lot of ways, it's faster because you're not having to, I got to download it and then I got to upload it in AuthentiSign. And I have to log into AuthentiSign, upload it, create a signing. So it is faster that way. And then it will, I believe the ones that it has shared with you will notify them as well.
So let's say,
Yes.
Yeah.
Emails.
like I have the listing and we have an addendum.
Mhm.
So if I'm setting up the addendum, am I also setting up the other side to sign too, or just my client?
The functionality is there to do that. I am not using that functionality. I
Right.
still think, I mean, I don't know that's a good question on whether there is an issue with the agency of you sending something direct to someone else's client. I don't know. That's a good question.
You know, like, cause normally I would just have it be me and my client
Mhm.
and then transaction text, download it, attach the PDF, send it to that client to handle,
Mhm.
send back to me when it's done. But
That's,
am I supposed to
That's
send
what I've
it
been
to the other client, the other?
no,
client?
I would
don't
just
think
send
so.
it to you and then, but within Remine, then you can send. You can then send to them. You don't have to download it in a PDF and email it to them. So you can just hit, okay.
yeah, so
I don't know what
Is
my
the sign
username
in-
for Remine is. Is it
okay,
my,
I don't know that, is it the same as our,
I set mine up the same so that I don't have to remember to.
I don't even know if I've never had to sign into Remine directly. Okay, it is Remine has just failed. So also guys, if you're not using Google Keep, use Google Keep for all your passwords. That's what I do.
yeah,
What's that?
me too, I can't remember.
My Chrome browser is set up to automatically save all my passwords. So all I have to do is click and then sign in. So, okay, but Remine is not working. But yeah, all you would do is when you hit send, hit add recipient to view only. And that
Oh, the
will,
other agent.
Mhm. Yep.
Oh,
And then instead of having to download it and then email
so
it
then
to
once
them,
all the signatures are done, the other agent would get it.
And
to-
send it-
to
and send it
review
back to-
only.
and then they could then send it to their clients or whatever. Yep, because if you like click the other agent, it'll send it to them to sign, which you don't necessarily want to do. So other questions for like this second? I know we're gonna have to go through it, but again, I would encourage you just try and start using it and just call me the second you've got questions and I'll walk you through it. Don't worry about it. Even if you're like, wait, how do I create a transaction? It's fine. There's no dumb questions here.
I'm at the first screen.
Yeah, that's fine. Hey, I don't know. Hey, I don't know how to get to, please do not, I'm not going to help you with your login. That's the only thing that I'm not going to help with. But even if it's like, wait, how do
I
I,
prompted you my password.
Yeah.
Help me.
even if it's like, I don't remember how to get to Remine Docs. Okay, that's fine. Like, there are no dumb questions, only inquisitive idiots. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yes,
No dumb
yes,
questions
yes.
with this. Yeah, no dumb questions. That's what we're here for. Don't ever feel bad about bothering us with that stuff. So, any questions from the Google Meet? If not,
Before you hang out.
yes.
Yesterday you were sent an invite to set up your profile for
yes.
Sky Slope. Please do that. At the very minimum,
Yes.
just open your account at this point in time. And if you have any issue, call one of us.